Morning, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today. Appreciate you taking a few moments. If you want to follow along, you can join me in the 21st chapter of the book of Genesis. If you will, in the meantime, like, share, comment on the post, and then we will dive right in. Chapter 21, beginning in verse 25. After after this agreement that they made, that they have a treaty that they will deal kindly with each other, Abraham and Abimelech. The next thing we read, and it's difficult to tell if this was immediately after verse 24 when Abraham said, okay, I will agree to the treaty, that then Abraham came back and said, well, while we're talking, let's talk about this issue, or if at some point later this came up. We don't really have much indication there of the time between the period at the end of verse 24 and the when of verse 25. But either way, what happens is, it says Abraham reproves or confronts Abimelech about a well of water that Abimelech's servants had seized. Abimelech said, I do not know who has done this thing. You did not tell me, and I have not heard of it until today. Pretty straightforward story here. What's went on is, at some point, Abraham has dug a well, and even today, for most people, a well is a valuable thing. It's an important thing to have. But particularly in those days, and particularly in that area that would have been a very dry wilderness kind of area. And what has happened here, you see the word that Abimelech's servants seized that well. The word there implies that it was a violent, not a, hey, can I have that well? Yeah, sure, here it is. It was a, give it to us or we're going to whoop you kind of thing. And they had taken it. And it appears that had happened at some point in the past, and Abraham had just suffered the loss. He just kept his mouth shut. But now he chooses to bring this up. Again, kind of a touchy situation. Again, Abraham doesn't really own anything there. He's just living on Abimelech's good graces that have allowed him to stay there. And so Abraham confronts Abimelech over the rights to this well. Now, it's in all likelihood Abimelech, to be honest, because he was a Philistine, because of the nature of their religious system, and typically what they kind of thought of everyone else. My guess is Abimelech never really had any intention of honoring this agreement that they made in the first place, and so he was kind of caught off guard. Probably didn't really want to give the well up. But also Abraham has shown himself, and his servants have shown himself to be pretty formidable foes, and so Abimelech's kind of in a bad spot here as well. So really, both of them are kind of treading, I guess you'd say, on thin ice. And Abraham doesn't want to run the risk. Again, he's just living on borrowed land. He doesn't want to run the risk of there being bad feelings and get kicked out. Abimelech probably doesn't really want to start a war with Abraham and his people. But if Abraham doesn't say something about it, then Abimelech's servants are probably going to just take more wells because Abraham's going to be seen as weak. And so this is something that needs to be handled. And I'm going to draw something maybe completely out of left field for you. This story that's going on here and we will proceed and see how everything plays out in the relationship between Abraham and Abimelech. But one of the things I think most of us have learned, we may not practice it that well, is that ordinarily covering things up, keeping things concealed, not dealing with issues early and when they are small, simply lead them to be bigger problems. You see that in your health. You have some sign of something going wrong, and something wrong physically in your body, and you don't go to the doctor, and you put it off, and eventually end up in the emergency room, and things are much worse than if you would have dealt with them originally. You see it in your car. The check engine light comes on, and you just keep driving. If you would have went on to the mechanic, now you wouldn't be having to replace an engine or whatever. And we see that in all areas of life. It's true in relationships as well. Over the years, I've sat with a number of couples in different situations. I've dealt with them in management, in secular employment, that most of the time. I mean, I'm not going to say all the time, but most of the time, the vast majority of the time, when there is friction between two people, when there is an issue, if we're not honest, if we're not open, if we try to cover things up, relationships end up damaged, if not destroyed. And again, that's true in business, that's true in family, true in the neighborhood, wherever you go. And it's not always easy. Sometimes, I'm sure it wasn't easy for Abraham to make this statement, but just reminds us of the importance of honesty and being upfront in our dealings. You think about it. Have a good one. I'll see you here tomorrow morning.